In a recent video, Doug Andrew called the IUL a dream investment. But is it the silver bullet retirement account he claims it to be? That's what I'll be discussing in today's video. As a reminder, I respect Doug Andrew and I appreciate what he's contributed to the ongoing dialogue around sustainable retirement planning principles. But as with my previous video on Doug Andrew, I will politely disagree with his one-size-fits-all approach to indexed universal life. Okay, let's take a look at the first clip.
If you properly structure IUL, you'll find that, like I have for many of my clients, 95% of the time, people didn't come to me really wanting or needing more death benefit. They wanted the dream solution as an alternative to IRAs and 401ks because they realized they weren't going to be in a lower tax bracket when they retire. And so they didn't want to put money in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k, and especially Wall Street was not designed to create predictable cash flow. Whenever you ask Wall Street, when's the best time to sell my mutual fund shares or my stocks or whatever, the answer is never, because they weren't designed to create positive cash flow. If you ask an asset manager to illustrate a payout out of $1 million nest egg invested in the market, they're going to be hard-pressed to show you an illustration much higher than 4%. It's called the 4% rule.
First off, while I am a fan of IUL, in the right circumstances, I get very uneasy talking about it in terms of a dream solution. It conjures up images of a life insurance-only salesman on TikTok who only has a hammer and everything looks like a nail. The truth is, the IUL is hardly the only viable tax-free retirement planning alternative. You have Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, and you can even take RMDs out of your IRA up to your standard deduction without any taxes at all. So if you believe tax rates in the future are likely to be higher than they are today, something Doug and I agree upon, that doesn't mean that you must reflexively default to putting all of your retirement savings into an IUL. Finally, I would agree that Wall Street wants you to believe that the stock market is the only solution. Just take a look at anything coming out of Ken Fisher's mouth these days. And yes, the 4% rule is a very expensive way to pay for retirement. It's much more economical to guarantee your living expenses with a lifetime income annuity. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should allocate all of your life savings to an IUL. Let's keep listening.
Dalbar, who studies investor behavior, says the average person in America retiring with money in the market is only really averaging 3.49%. So if you pull out 4%, you're going to slowly deplete that $1 million nest egg, but not before your LE. LE is life expectancy. But that's called the 4% rule, which is unacceptable to me. I think it's pathetic that advisors accumulate $1 million nest egg, and then they only want you to pull out 4% a year, $40,000, and you're only netting $30,000 after tax in a 25% tax bracket. If you subtract the 1% fees that they charge you annually on that $1 million, you're only netting 2%. How much more is 8 or 10 than 2? It's 400%, it's 500% more, it's 5 times more income. It is accomplished by using max-funded indexed universal life.
Okay, the Dalbar numbers he's quoting are a bit off. If you look at the last 30 years, the market has performed about 10%, and the average investor has experienced about 7%. That's a lot different than the 3% he's quoting here. And what accounts for the difference between the 10% and the 7%? Some of it can be attributed to fees, but the vast majority of that delta is owed to long-term investor behavior. If you want to make money in the stock market, you're supposed to buy low and sell high. Unfortunately, most do-it-yourself investors do just the opposite. Driven by their emotions, they buy high and sell low. They shift to cash when the market starts to plummet, and then they fail to time the market correctly when getting back in. Furthermore, when you look at consumers who utilize a qualified financial advisor to help keep on track with their investment objectives, that outcome improves considerably. So no, the IUL is not the only way to grow your money productively over the course of a lifetime. When you have an experienced financial advisor shepherding you through the process, you can get extremely productive returns out of the stock market. Let's keep listening.
First of all, for me, it's a no-brainer that a max-funded IUL will knock the socks off of putting the same amount of money into traditional IRAs or 401ks. If you are a saver, you can understand that the premise that you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire is no longer true or axiomatic, okay? And so this is why savvy people end up considering a Roth. Well, if you've ever heard me on this channel say I've never owned an IRA or 401k. Yep, never will. But I've never owned a Roth IRA or 401k. Never will. Why would I mess around with a qualified plan like a Roth or a traditional IRA or 401k when I can have those benefits and a whole lot more by using max-funded IUL? In a nutshell,
Again, what Doug is advocating for here is a single investment tool to accomplish all of your retirement needs. This would preclude every other tax-free alternative, including, like I previously mentioned, Roth 401ks, Roth IRAs, and taking money out of your IRA tax-free up to your standard deduction. I want you to ask yourself a question, and I ask it with all due respect to Doug Andrew. Would you rather adopt a retirement approach in which you put every last dime of your retirement savings into an indexed universal life insurance policy, or would you prefer that your IUL be just one component of a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement? Remember, if you just utilize the IUL, you will dramatically underperform the stock market over time. Furthermore, you won't be taking advantage of all the unique benefits of each of the tax-free alternatives the IRS tax code affords you. For example, the Roth 401k gives you the opportunity to get a company match. That's free money that will dramatically improve your returns over time. You can't get this with the IUL. The Roth IRA gives you instant liquidity on your principal. You don't get this with an IUL unless you pay extra to waive the surrender charge. The IRA allows you to get a deduction on the front end, grow your money tax deferred, and utilize the standard deduction to offset the tax on your RMDs in retirement. That's like the holy grail of investing. The IUL should only be used as a complement to all these other streams of tax-free income, not a replacement for. The IUL should be relied upon to do things none of the other alternatives can do. For example, the IUL can give you a death benefit that you can access in advance of your death for the purpose of paying for long-term care. And it can serve as an excellent volatility buffer in retirement. Save 3 to 5 years worth of living expenses in your IUL by day one of retirement, then pay for your lifestyle expenses out of your IUL in the years following a down year in your stock market portfolio. That will allow your stock portfolio to recover before you take further distributions. By following this course, you can increase your sustainable withdrawal rate from 4% to as high as 8%. For that reason alone, I recommend that if you're younger than age 50, you earmark 30% of your retirement savings towards an IUL. Notice I didn't say 100%, I said 30%. This is a much more balanced, math-corroborated approach to using indexed universal life. In summary, in stark contrast to what Doug Andrews says in this video, the IUL is not, in fact, a dream investment. It's merely a financial tool that, when utilized in concert with all of the other available alternatives in the IRS tax code, can help you create a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement planning. Folks, in the next 10 years, I'm looking to put 100,000 Americans on the road to the 0% tax bracket. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to DaveMcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to PowerZero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.